Okay, Clair Obscur Expedition 33 launched a week prior to this recording, and there's been a lot of talk in relation to it about it being successful only because it's in Game Pass. I have in the past said before that we cannot discredit Game Pass for contributing to its success. But as we see that the title has now eclipsed 1 million sales, and we see it doing well on Steam, that has nothing to do with Game Pass. And then we're seeing reports coming out of Europe or UK, excuse me, that show that 95% of the physical sales, at least at this point in time, are on PlayStation. I think we've taken the reasonable approach that, hey, Xbox and Game Pass has something to do with the success, to it's successful only because of Xbox Game Pass. And opposed to this being a Sandfall Interactive title, that those are the developers of this game, it's now being pegged as an Xbox Game Pass game. Like, Xbox published this game. This is getting out of control. Let's talk about it. Let's get to a reasonable conclusion. What's up, people? It's your boy MM2K of Hard Knock Digital Culture, Cloud Dosage, MM2K Gaming, back again with another episode of The Dosage. This is where we talk about the latest and greatest in video gaming news. And I give you my latest and greatest thoughts on said subject. Okay. I created a video last week, and I kind of did it in like a trollish fashion, because I wanted to get at the people that ramp at this channel, I wanted to mess with the PlayStation fanboys. Yes, I did. Because when you guys hear anything positive about Xbox, your skin crawls, you go through spontaneous combustion. It's absurd sometimes for you guys to see your reaction. I'll get Dear John letters. Oh my God, MM, I can't take it anymore. Oh God, I gotta go. Okay, I gotta leave this channel. And I just told you guys to unsubscribe, and you're listening. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. But in that video, if you listen to the full video, I just simply say, look, Xbox Game Pass cannot be denied as far as having something to do with the catapult of this game. Why do I say that? Because this is a real small company. There's 50 people that worked on this game. It's very clear that the fundage and their ability to market this game and all that other stuff, there weren't a lot of resources for it. However, in comes Xbox Game Pass. Xbox showcases this game at its Game Pass or its Xbox presentation last year. A lot of people saw that presentation, was like, whoa, that's a cool looking game. Then Xbox had another I think the Developers Direct this year showed even more of it. People were like, oh, this is a Game of the Year candidate, right? So clearly the marketing and the money, whatever money they got from Xbox, helped out Sandfall Interactive with Clair Obscur and helped get the name out and help show people what it's about, opposed to a game that could have very easily fell under the radar without the proper marketing. Xbox helped in that. And this is a case to where I do think Xbox Game Pass did do more good than harm to propelling a title. Because what happened is people across different platforms saw the game in this good light and said, oh, I'm going to get it where I play games, albeit Xbox Game Pass, albeit Steam, and albeit PlayStation. I'm going to get that game where I play games. Now we're going to journey into the part where people are just losing their minds and they don't understand context, and it just shows the remedial nature of the gaming community, right? Now people are saying stuff like it's successful only because of Game Pass, and this is a Game Pass game. That's absurd, because those same people that I said, ooh, cool, they showcased that game, I'm gonna play it where I play. Those people are not saying, oh, cool, it's on Game Pass where I can pay $20 a month to get it day one. I'm going to not get it where I play games. I'm going to flock to Game Pass and get it. People are not saying that, and they're not doing that. Steam people are buying it on Steam like they typically would. PlayStation people, as we can see, they're dominating the physical sales. They're buying it on PlayStation. And then when the digital sales come in, I'm pretty sure that you'll likely see them in the lead, at least in consoles, as far as sales are concerned. But that doesn't make it a Game Pass, quote unquote, game more so than it is a Sandfall interactive game that happens to be in Game Pass. That would be like, look, you know how Amazon Prime at times will get certain movies day and date that you can watch them at home, right? But let's just say said movie tears it up in the box office because people see advertisements on Amazon Prime and people are like, oh, well, when we go to the theater this weekend, I want to go see it in the theater. So we're going to go out, grab the popcorn, grab the kids. We're going to have a blast to see it. Yes, Amazon Prime would have helped that movie get attention, but it's not an Amazon Prime movie. It wasn't made by Amazon Prime. It wasn't exclusive to Amazon Prime. It just happens to be an Amazon Prime day and date, and Amazon Prime's promotion helped add more, gravity to the attention that came to said movie. The majority of the movie's money still was made, you know what I'm saying, in the movie theater. It just happened to be releasing day and date in Amazon Prime as well. Same here. It happens to be an Xbox Game Pass. Because of the deal that they had with Xbox Game Pass, that definitely did help promotion. But to say that this is a Game Pass game because it's day and date is remedial. What's also remedial is the argument about, well, you guys were saying that Game Pass cannibalizes sales and it sold 1 million. You guys are dumb. No. If you are not obfuscating and projecting when you call other people dumb with that belief, I want to take whatever super chat money or whatever we get and put it together and get you a CAT scan. When we say Game Pass cannibalizes sales, we're not saying that Game Pass doesn't make people want to buy a game at all. That's absolutely absurd. There's no way that if your brain is working in all of its quadrants, that is your takeaway. Prime example. The biggest game in the world, Call of Duty, is day and date in Game Pass. How many people sold their PlayStation 5s and went and played it on Game Pass? No, nobody. They continued to play on PlayStation 5, and as a matter of fact, PlayStation dominated in sales, even though it could have attracted people to Xbox and it's in Game Pass. Arguably, the overwhelming majority of success monetarily that they saw from Call of Duty was the $70 a pop that they sold it for on PlayStation, not the people playing it on Game Pass. So if what people were saying by cannibalizing sales, if the context was nobody buys a game, then explain what they were talking about with Game Pass, where you had PlayStation people who were buying Call of Duty still said, I wonder how much more successful Call of Duty, how much more successful Starfield, how much more successful XYZ game would have been if it wasn't day and date in Game Pass. It has nothing to do with PlayStation people. It has nothing to do with Steam people. It has everything to do with the Xbox people who now have been nurtured and have been inbred in this culture that we don't have to buy games. If they weren't inbred in that culture, how many of them would have bought Clair Obscur instead of just sitting and waiting for it to be in Game Pass? Now, in the case of Clair Obscur, that it might have been a better thing that Game Pass existed and they released day and date in Game Pass, because they're a small studio that had a big, heavy punching game that in order for you to get in front of the masses, you need big, heavy punching marketing. And so Xbox realized, hey, this is a big game. This has got a lot of potential with it. Let's put some marketing behind it. And it worked out for everybody. Every single game doesn't fit that scenario. That was a perfect tight cast scenario for Sandfall Interactive and Clair Obscur, right? That's not going to be for everybody. How much more successful would Starfield have been for the long term if it wasn't day and date in Game Pass? If it forced people to buy it on Xbox? How much more successful would it have been? That is the cannibalization of sales that is being talked to in an industry form. It doesn't mean that nobody's going to buy the game. That's absurd. Game Pass has no bearing on PlayStation. It has no bearing on Steam. That cannot be the context derived. I swear, I was just saying this earlier on the other stream. I wish I could just drive cross country or fly across the globe and just drop copies of Rich Dad, Poor Dad and on top of everyone's face so y'all can read it and understand how business works. Cannibalization of sales is not overall. It's about the individual sales. Okay, we sold 20, but if it wasn't for Game Pass, would we have sold 30? That's it in a nutshell. All right. So I say all that to say this. You're talking to a Game Pass Ultimate subscriber at the time of this recording. And through Game Pass, I am playing Clair Obscur, Atomfall, Oblivion, and I'm loving all of those games. I'm very early on in Clair Obscur, but I just got through like the prologue, and we're at the fair and I'm getting the token and the coins to go get some stuff there. You know what I'm saying? It looks like we're about to go on the expedition, right? And I've been practicing some of the battle mechanics because I was getting my rear end handed to me, and I loved it. I loved the challenge of it. I loved going over it over and over again. I even loved the fact that Cold Blood was in the background of me trying to play this game, laughing at me because I didn't know what I was doing. I'm always operating on a slower curve because I want to understand the intricacies of everything that I play. So I play it like I'm a blind wombat, and then once I get a hold of all the mechanics, then I just start flying through it. So yeah, but I really much did enjoy just a small playthrough, about an hour of the game. And I can tell you this much, man, for this time period, Game Pass is cooking. I got to give it to them. Is Xbox cooking? No, but Game Pass is cooking right now. So if you have Game Pass and you want to get access to these games and try them and play them and see if they're worth it, it's a great way to get access to games in a world where demos and stuff need to be more prominent, like they were back in the 360 era. You got Game Pass, you got to pay up front for it, but at least you get access to a whole bunch of games. So if you really want to further cement your ability to play it and support the devs, you can then go buy it. Like I'm like, oh, okay, well, I wonder how this performs on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Might go buy it on the Pro. Same with Atomfall. I might buy it on the Pro. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Game Pass is cooking right now, but this is not a Game Pass, Game Pass title like Microsoft owns this game, or its success is solely because it's in Game Pass. No, it was brought to people's attention because it was coming to Game Pass, and Microsoft knew and Xbox knew they had a heavy hitter in their hands. But now that people are aware of it being a heavy hitter, Game Pass did all it could do. Now its success purely is on it being a heavy hitter. People are now purchasing it, and people are loving it, and them leaving great scores. Now, all the heavy lifting is being done by the consumer. You can't pass that part of it to Xbox. Both can occupy the same space and same time. Okay, and we got to start understanding context. Stop with this. You don't understand. Everything is black and white. You got to be able to see the grays. When people say cannibalize sales, they don't mean cannibalize all the sales. That's absurd. That's ridiculous. I can't even believe we're having this discussion. Game Pass has no bearing on what PC or Steam people or freaking PlayStation people are going to do with the game. Who cares if it's day and date on Game Pass? If it's on PlayStation as well, they're going to get it there. They're not. So, of course, we're not talking about sales overall. That's ridiculous to assume. Man, oh man, oh man. Give me your addresses, all right, in the comment section so I can drop that copy of Rich Dad, Poor Dad in your face. But that's it. That's it from your boy. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below, because like I always say, I'm curious what I think. But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. They will lead you to Hard Knock Digital Culture, Cloud Dosage, MM2K Gaming. With that said, peace. Have a wonderful gaming day. Couple more things. If you want to see gaming live streams, check me out on Twitch. All of our game live streams, or at least most of them for the most part, mine, that come from me, not necessarily Cold Blood, will be on twitch.tv/HNDC Hub. That's where we do our live streams. We start like around 9 a.m. Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. We might do it all week this week, though, because of Clair Obscur. I might try to find some way to make room for it all week. And then they will eventually come here, but they don't come over here till later, and then they're VODs, right? But we stream in 1440p over there, so you can go check us out over there. And also, if you enjoy this content and you want access to more, like over the weekend, I did a bunch of extra content looking at this and talking about this before the public. Got to hear my thoughts on it. Stay tuned, because we're about to show you how you can get access to it. Hold tight. What's up, people? I hope you're enjoying MM2K Gaming News content. You have a possibility to get access to even more great content, and I'm going to show you how very quickly. First and foremost, you're going to want to become a member. And you can become a member at two different levels. You can become a member at the shout out level, which is our $1.99 or $2 tier, and then you can become a member at what we call the Foamy Homie tier, which is at $3.99 or $4, depending upon where you join. So I'm gonna show you how you join on YouTube. All you got to do is simply go to join right here, and then you can pick one of the two tiers, the foamed up or the Foamy Homie tier. And again, the Foamy Homie tier will give you access to everything. Just simply click on that and join, and follow the instructions from there, and then you'll get access to our members posts that we place over in the post section, where you'll get access to members content Monday through Friday. All right. And then you'll get other access to streams and things like that. Now, if joining us over here is not your cup of tea, then you can become a Patreon member. Simply go look for MM2K Gaming News at Member Plus. And then what you can do is see the membership options over there. And again, we have two tiers. We have a tier one that's similar to the foamed up tier. We got another tier, tier two that's similar to the Foamy Homie tier. But here's the crazy thing: as you can see here, those prices are crossed out, and there's even cheaper prices. All through the month of April in 2025, we are giving people access on Patreon 50% off. So you can join us on Patreon, get 50% off your subscription, and get access to the same great stuff. Another thing that you can do, another awesome perk, is when you join our Discord, which is in the description below. Join our Discord. You'll also get notifications to when all of this member content goes live. You can go to our special members only notification rooms, and you'll get access to the content there. So multiple ways you can join us over at MM2K Gaming News, get access to all the great content Monday through Friday, on top of the stuff that you already enjoy. We thank you again so much for your support, and until next time, you guys have a wonderful, wonderful gaming day. Peace.